Hello, marvelous creatures. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. This is a collective message. Allow your own intuition to serve as the second half of this reading. This is an offering of a download, so this is a concept or a conceptual, spiritual, energetic receiving of a message that is being offered and expanded upon for the betterment of all. So use your discernment, use your intuition, allow yourself to, allow you to take you the rest of the way. If you're interested in a private session, that information is in the description of this video. Otherwise, let us begin. Cupid has left the building. Cupid, all Cupids have retired for good measure. This download was a little bit strange, but it doesn't mean that love is dead. It means that we're being trusted. The same way you might be trusted as an older sibling to care for a younger sibling because you've gotten to an age of maturity and you've shown yourself to be mature enough, so have we been trusted in this divine kind of space of, well, now you can do it yourselves. And so now what does Cupid serve as? Right, I have a bunch of downloads I'm going to share with y'all, but what does Cupid serve as? Cupid serves to bring partners together, to bring people together, right? It allows people to kind of take that risk on love when they've had whatever experiences that they've had, to allow individuals to come together and to see the value in it and to kind of push them, right? But that's not the only thing that Cupid does. Cupid also keeps people invested in their relationships and keeps them going towards each other rather than away from each other, right? So let's go through these notes and then we'll pull cards and see what happens then, darlings. Cupid angels exist to bring relationships together from people that were hard of hearing and receiving, to make way for the children of creation that would need to come through them. So think about our parents and their parents, right? They were the matchmakers, assuring that certain unions bore the fruit that would bring us here. Cupids, like Cupid angels, are hands off right now. We must learn what it is to bear that responsibility ourselves. What responsibility? The responsibility of remaining present, of nurturing, love, of not really having this kind of outside specific energy, like the specific Cupid angels and what they represent, right? To be able to do it ourselves. What happens when we're trusted to invest in love ourselves? And love is not just love. So let's get that straight. Love is also creation. It's also community. It's also bearing more life. It's the central nucleus of what continues life. Love bears fruit. Love bears children. Love bears creation. And what happens when getting to that is not the way it used to be? And so we have so many people on all sides of the spectrum, regardless of what they believe in or how spiritual they are, experiencing difficulty, whether they're in union or not, in love, in finding love. And so many individuals are crying out to the divine, crying out to God, asking, where is my partner? Where is my soulmate? Why? And the divine is saying, because it's not going to be made easy for you. It's simple, but it's not going to be made easy because there's so much work, inner work, awareness, accountability that is needed, rather than just being brought someone, right? The divine is trusting us to do the work ourselves. And what that looks like is getting to a point where you are actually being super conscious and aware of what it is that you're bringing in these relationships, what these relationships are reflecting back to you, doing the work and making yourself that much more of a reflection of what that relationship is. Because it seems like in the past, the Cupid angels were able to make you connect anyway, or able to bring you together anyway. And then where you guys are brought together, or where these individuals were brought together, is where they were, right? And so they come together in this divine union, like one's over here, and you know, where's my lover? And then all of a sudden it's like you guys are being, because the main purpose and their main goal was to come together for their karmic purposes. So they had angels and divine beings that were assigned to make sure they find each other. But what happens when the divine is saying, now it's on you? Now, what do you match to? Who do you see in a partner? Are you able to see the qualities and values in that partner, or in that person, or in that friend that bring you a sense of like, yeah, this is what I want? We have matured and thus are trusted with the responsibility, the future of all life itself. When it comes to love, we are on our own. When it comes to fertility, we are on our own. Not in punishment, but in coming into our own as angelic/human beings. The equivalent of going from arranged marriages to sovereign choice. So think about where we came from as sort of an arranged kind of situation, and how there were certain the name of the game wasn't necessarily consciousness before this time. That wasn't what our recent ancestors were asked of, even though they were able to experience, some of them were able to experience expressions of that, right? In reality, they were brought together so that they could continue the bloodline and move through the karma to make way for individuals like you and other individuals as well. And so they were brought together not to have this grand consciousness of awareness, but they were just brought together. The goal of that incarnation, of those incarnations, were not awareness, consciousness, and accountability. That's now. And because that's now, why would we be offered, or why would the divine dispatch Cupid angels to bring in love, or to connect love, to bring romance together outside of ourselves? It's like we don't need to play this game with you guys anymore. You guys are the creators here. You guys are here to be creators, so create your lives, create a way, create connection, create resonance, and then allow yourselves to organically rebuild the structures and the foundations of what it means to bring in love and to match to love. What does it mean to organically flow in your life in a way that the right partners find you, or the right partner finds you? And what does it mean when you're now given the responsibility of anchoring in what it means to come into union in a way that other people can find that flow as well? Just by watching, being the living examples in your union of what that means. The equivalent of going from, I already said that, divinely challenged to emerge in authenticity to find union. So many individuals crying out to the divine, like I said, really desperate, truly, and desperate is the correct word for love, for connection, for that union, for that young, right? But what happens when you're not being given the grace of that until you deal with some shit, right? You have to, are you still weighed down by your trauma to the point where you don't allow yourself to show up authentically? Because then how do you know if someone's going to love you authentically if you can't show up authentically? Where in the past, the Cupid angels were able to shoot you with that arrow where you could see beyond it, where both people could see beyond it and be able to like really relax into each other before all of this energy kind of unfolded, before they got to their authenticity. And then they relax into their authenticity together. But what happens if you can't do that no more? What happens if now you're at a place where you have to emerge in your authenticity and be brave enough to show up with your potency in order to even be seen by the right people? Organic matches coming into union via self-propulsion and depending how authentic you can allow yourself to be. Crisis mode within the masculine and feminine due to polarization and collective descent into disharmony. Okay. Collective descent into disharmony and polarization. Think about these TikToks. I be talking about this all the time because it's everywhere. And I don't know if it's just me. You guys let me know in the comments if you have seen this too. But a lot of conversation around what it means to be a good woman, what it means to be a good man, what you need in order to really find a relationship, right? A woman needs to submit, and a man needs to stand up and make his money and do this and blah, blah, blah. And a woman should not be on OnlyFans and doing all this other stuff because she's not a real woman and blah, 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 blah. And like, women who have abortions are not real women and blah, blah, blah. Like all of these fucking weird ass confines and I guess you could say polarizations, right? It's a reflection of how sick we are in the descent of the divine masculine and feminine union and how there's been little value placed in that. I'll get back to that. This requires us to work harder to generate and protect romantic relationships. We have to assert more energy, more focus, and more dedication and sacrifice in order to protect and nourish true organic divine relationships and partnerships. Almost like working from the ground up with self-work and work within partnership. So it's like we're working from the ground up, meaning we're not kind of laying our heads down on what has been provided to us in reference to like a framework of what it means to be in a divine partnership. All of that is up for grabs. All of that is being organically formed as we give ourselves in service to the person that is in front of us. And when we do that, we find our way of flow. We find our new patterns. We find our new habits. We find our new sort of routines. And in that, we're laying down the framework, the foundation for our children's children to have something to build from, so they don't have to work as hard at this. So that, because what we're doing is, in many ways, essentially, we're reinventing the wheel. Why is that important? Because the energy is different, the gravity is different, the way that density and materials work is different. So we're re-looking at the materials that we now have, the materials that are offered to us, and we're recreating the wheel, because there's something a little wobbly going on from picking up things from the past, from all of these different TikToks and all of these different notions of what it means to be a man and a woman, and what it means to be in a partnership, what it means to get married, what it means to be in union, right? And what it means for a woman to be a good wife, and what it means for a man to be a good husband. All of that shit is a rickety wheel, right? So we're reinventing the wheel. Partnerships from before are much more fragile. Relationships that come into union before are not safe from this. So if you've come into union before, know that you're in for a storm. It doesn't mean that you're separating in union, although it might. However, that's for you to determine and find out and figure out, okay? But in all reality, in all truth, right, you're not removed from this energy. You're actually being, you're on the front lines of this energy, meaning you're being challenged in your relationship to step the fuck up. Like, not in reference to how much you provide or service this person, but step the fuck up in your willingness to be intimately present in this relationship, to be vulnerable, to submit, right? To lay it all out, and to really invest yourself and to sacrifice for this relationship, and also the vulnerable place that puts you in, because you don't have any control over what that other person chooses, right? So this is like, are you willing to show up and lay it out all on the line? Are you willing to be soft? Are you willing to let the hardness of your heart and past experiences fall away, so that you can be present in this, and so that you can give your full self to this, not knowing what that other person is going to choose, and if they're going to match you with that same energy? And if they don't, are you willing to mature and let that go in order to trust that the universe and faith in the universe is going to match you to somebody who's more in alignment to where you are? Are you willing to lay out your whole soul for your partner to see? Are you willing to take the other as the self? Coagulation and separation, moving back into union. This is the beginning. So think about like this is a period of the humanity and Earth's journey where we take apart the car, right? We're taking the engine out, okay? We're taking out the catalytic converter. We're taking the wheels out. We're taking every nut and bolt. Everything is being brought apart. Everything is being separated so that we could take accountability and look at ourselves, right? And you coming together, or the union coming together, or the opportunities of union, which is not just love in romance, but love and friendship and other kinds of relationships. And that union is the beginning of things being put back together in a way that works, reinventing the wheel. Those that have existed and maintained divine union are placed in service. So there's going to be many individuals that are really honoring this divine union in a way that is authentic, that are coming forward together. So you'll see a lot of duos, partnerships. You'll see a lot like Tony Robbins and all of that. You'll see a lot of partners coming forward regardless of their sexuality or orientation. Groups are like different groups, and more validity being brought to polyamorous relationships and other forms of relationships that are more in alignment to the diversity of what we experience now. And all of this is showing up as divine example. Marriage and relationship counselors will have abundant careers in the years to come. So if you're thinking about that, and if you feel like this is your calling, this is your confirmation. Divergence Divergent impulse to live loosely and single. So there's another impulse that's divergent, meaning there's another impulse that is I guess you could say encouraging humanity to be more independent. Like, you don't need love, you can just do it yourself. Like, you want to get your wet, you want to get this wet, you want to have fun, go have fun, but you don't need union. You can do it all by yourself. Who says you need anybody? What's wrong with being alone, right? And there's a big push for that, especially in the feminine aspect of things. But again, back to this crisis in the divine masculine and feminine, in the male and female, right? The union is like the braid that keeps us strong, right? And I've talked about this previously at numerous length, right? The divine relationship between partner and partner is, and the energy that's put into that, the sacrifice and the dedication that's put into that is what weaves in our strength. Which weaves in our union. So think about like a child that has a parent, or has two parents that are really dedicated to one another, that are really dedicated to being together as equals and working as a team, and taking on the other as the self, and truly allowing that divine union, no walls, just connection to the heart, right? And that kid has that example. What it means to see two parents in love, and being in love in a way that's imperfect, but in a way that's true, right? And what happens now that we have all of these kids with single parents, with single moms, right? Dads that aren't really around, you know what I mean? Like, that was sort of like the beginning of the breaking apart of the nuclear structure, right? And so what happens when this nuclear structure and this bond is being brought back together? This divine crisis that we have, it means that a lot of the individuals that we're seeing as partners are not really being or stepping up, and it's making us feel like it's desolate. There's no men out there, there's no women out there, there's no people out there that I can really invest in and feel safe with. And the divine is saying, yeah, it's forcing you inwards and forcing them inwards, and eventually you'll come together, right? So if you're right now, if you're stressing because you wish and desire that you could have partnership, know that there's a rhyme and reason for it. And just because Cupid is retired, it doesn't mean that love is dead. Guides, angels, ancestors, ascended masters, beings of love and light, those that walk with us in God's loving embrace, we call upon you at this time. How can we expand upon this downloaded message? Allow us to receive. Thank you. Allow me to serve as divine channel at this time. Archangel Michael, protect against any distorting energies and or intentions. Escort them to a place of evolution or dissolution now or whenever they may interfere. Thank you. Thank you. What do we got, Metatron? What do we got? Yeah, there's a lot of unions that are coming together now. There's a lot of unions that are coming together now. However, it feels like there's also a lot of coming out of union that's happening first. So I feel like the majority are coming out of union, and you're having to start on a path that you didn't intend. It's a difference. There's a difference here between intentionally starting a relationship and starting on a path, and then having that relationship like fall apart, blow up in your face, and then having to start on a path that you never wanted, or that you never thought you would. It's like unexpected, right? But with the Five of Pentacles in the reverse, this is finally coming home to yourself in a way, being let in. No longer, it's like I no longer feel like I have somebody here. Feels like they no longer have to sneak around or lie or live a double life or hide certain aspects of yourself. You feel like you can finally come home to yourself because this person isn't stopping you or preventing you or making you feel like you're unsafe to do so, or that you're conditionally loved, right? With the Sun card in the reverse, I do feel like somebody's removed their light. Okay, so something was too bright, an awareness was too bright. The relationship brought up some real shit in both of you, and that shit burned. It's like being around awareness for too long, being in the sun for too long and getting burnt, Okay, you're empty right now. Like this is just giving you grace and letting you know that there's a little bit of hope here. A little bit, there's a lot of bit of hope here. But with the Ace of Cups, you don't really have anything to give right now. So I don't even know how you're here. Like in this reading, if this is how you feel, whoever this is, it's just a feeling of being burnt out. They're saying everybody, right? So much awareness that it burns. It's okay. This is the process. It's happening. The divine separation, coagulation, right? Which is the divine separation of things. And then coming back together, the union. It'll happen in its own time, but know that the reason that things may not be happening so easily or so abundantly as they have in the past, like somebody here is listening to like grandparents or parents be like, in our day, we used to do it like this. I'll be like, yeah, bitches, y'all had Cupid. Cupid ain't working for us. How about that? The Queen of Rods in the reverse. Listen, let me stop. The Queen of Wands in the reverse and the Seven of Pentacles, right? The Divine Feminine kind of like not having her needs met, I'm hearing, but also kind of being put out. This feeling of like lack of hope or lack of faith or lack of spirit, like lack of energy, lack of whatever you can equate that to. And the Seven of Pentacles is like, and having to get shit done, having to get to work, having to, figure it out. How do I figure this shit out? There's a lot of anger as well in the collective for things that coulda, shoulda, woulda, wasted time. Spirit is saying you are working through so much karma right now, or you have been working through so much karma. Like, give yourself grace. You know what I mean? You're still on this path, and if you're receiving this reading, know that you will be your own Cupid. Eventually. But right now, they're saying eventually or right now. It might be happening right now. And you might, that's what it is. And you feel like you don't have it in you. And it may not just be romantic. Like I said, it could be friendship-wise or platonic. But right now, it feels like that's what it is. Right now, it's too bright. Whatever is being brought to you is too bright. It's making you feel like you're unprepared for it. Ooh, whoever that is, right? Making you feel like there's a part of your feminine that's like, I don't know if I'm like insecure feminine, right? But yet you still power through. You're still present. You're still willing. You're still willing. Okay, divine union. Let's go. Thank you, Spirit. This is you coming together in your divine partnership, and both of you are blowing the horn. No longer are the Cupid angels blowing the horn and saying, they've made it, they're together, let the union commence, right? And it just happens. Right now it's like, no, this is like self-actualized. So now it's like, we call down the horn, right? We are blowing the horn and letting the divine know that we choose each other, right? This is like a declaration of choice, of union. And this is some of the strongest, or one of the strongest calls you can send out through the universe. Everybody's ears perk up in the ethers. They're like, what? You know what I mean? Because it's big, right? And when this kind of union comes together, it's like the foundation and the bedrock of all love and everything that comes after. All the creation and life that comes from this point is springing from here, right? Know that. Feel that. It's okay to be overwhelmed. It's okay to be like, damn, it's hot, right? The sun is burning my skin. There's a lot of awareness. This is a lot of brightness. This is a lot of light, right? And with the Ace of Cups in the reverse, I don't quite understand that. Let's pull a card for that. So I don't think it's that you have anything more to give anymore. It's that like you don't have anything else to give anymore. I think it's like you don't know what to do with all of it. Yeah, you don't know what to do with all of it, and it's freaking you out. It's like, whoa, right? because it doesn't feel like a movie in the sense of like, you know, our eyes met at the counter, and all of a sudden, like, my heart stopped and everything slowed down, and I knew that was my partner. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, shit was messy. You know what I mean? And shit be messy, and like the awareness is bright, and the love is bright, and the spirit is bright. You know what I mean? And a lot of it is forcing you to see all the things that you're living in and dysfunction that are against yourself. And thus, it's like making you feel like, what do I do with all this spirit? What do I do with all this abundance? What do I do with all this water? I don't know if I can hold it. It's like spirit is saying, you want water? Okay. They give you a full fucking tank of water, and you're like, oh fuck, this shit is heavy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you'll develop the muscles to be able to carry it. You will, right? But wherever it is that you're you're developing and creating a whole other shoe to drop that isn't even there. Let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up with a Dreamweaver's Oracle card. Thank you, Spirit. Because a lot of these unions are actually also forcing us or pushing us into our individual expression. So it's like these unions are saying, okay, cool, like, you know, this union is here, but it requires you to step up in your life, even in your life individually. It requires you to really do the things you say you're going to do. It requires you to really be brave. It requires you to fight for the dreams that you have, because this person realizes them and sees it, right? And this person is holding the space for you to realize it, and now you have no other way to go but forward, right? So you put yourself to work. If you hear a Sasquatch sigh, say that 8 times fast. If you hear a Sasquatch sigh, know that they are sad because you've fallen into the trap of spiritual narcolepsy. You've forgotten your partnership with the divine and the universe, and instead are working through your ego. You think you see clearly, but you're temporarily blinded to the magic in the world. Perhaps you're comparing yourself to others. Or perhaps you are seeing through the lens of lack and limitation. That therefore thinking there isn't enough, or that you are not enough. In this moment, you're being called to wake up and remember the inherent divinity in all things and in all people. Perhaps you can't see the magic and the mystery because you've lost faith. So many individuals that are drawn to this reading, you guys have something special in front of you, and you're afraid to see it. Or you've become hypnotized to temporary outer conditions that present as rigid or fixed. You may feel an overwhelming weight and responsibility on your shoulders to make things happen. Yes, life can be truly hard, unfair, unreliable, exhausting, irrational, and chaotic, but none of those things are permanent or personal. Remember, all things must change, and you are now and always have been a conduit for miracles. Wake up, reorient yourself, declutter your thoughts and your environment, and be grateful these episodes are fleeting. You do not need to define your sense of self by outer conditions. This is the time to dive into more self-love and self-compassion. Cultivate a sense of humor, for you are more than enough. You matter, and life loves you so much. Look to the signs around you, and the whole world is your oracle. Spirit has a plan. Spirit has a plan. There's a lot of fear here, and a lot of reminder here. Yeah, it's not as easy as it used to be. Yeah, like things are not coming together in a way that, like, the end goal essentially is not just union, right? Because in the past, recently it was because, certain things needed to happen. Certain kids, children needed to be born. Well, now the divine is saying, slow the fuck down, slow your roll, take apart that car, don't drive no more. You know what I mean? Like, put it back together and see if you notice some problems. Because when you do, it's almost like this lack of faith and hope, and like this thing of like, this ain't gonna work out. Why should I invest in it? Why should I put my heart to the grind again? Why should I let anybody in again? after all of this, and the divine is saying, yeah, we know that you don't have Cupid helping you out anymore, okay? We know that everything is self-regulated and self-drawn. And we know that because of that, there's a lot of desert energy in the sense of like lack of abundance or lack of availability, even maybe some mirages popping up in your view. But that doesn't mean that love is not possible. It just means that in order for you to really ground and receive that divine union, you need to do some things. You need to look some things. Look at yourself. Look in the mirror. Be accountable. Take responsibility for where you have been making love, finding partnership, the be-all, end-all, when it's really a byproduct of everything else. With that, I leave you in the divine light of the divine creator. I'm looking forward to hearing your comments and your thoughts on this, because this download feels very interesting. And I'll leave it at that. If you're interested in booking a session with me, that information's in the description box, and I'll see you guys soon.